Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions, holy bearers of the light of divine being, divinity. Thank you for bringing your light to the circle. The circle of truth, in which we look at what's true together and celebrate what's true, and then ask Jesus to show us where we're denying truth so we can look at it so directly and drop this, as he calls it, the shadow from our holy mind, the shadow that we could ever be apart from him. We could be anything other than light, the desire to experience other, what we are not. Today we're lesson 185. I want the peace of God. Jesus is getting really direct here. Jesus, show me how I do not want the peace of God. In the light of divine being, is there anything other than peace? Can this be found in our experience? Infinite being. I want the peace of God. To say these words is nothing, but to mean these words is everything. Perfect happiness. Perfect happiness. Perfect joy. If you could but mean them for just an instant, there would be no further sorrow possible for you in any form. This is no small promise Jesus is making. There would be no further sorrow possible for you in any form, in any place or time. Heaven would be completely given back to full awareness, memory of God entirely restored, the resurrection of all creation. The resurrection of all creation. The celebration of what is already here. No one can mean these words and not be healed. Yeah, Jesus is showing there's no toe dipping those words. There's no toe dipping a little bit of I want the peace of God. We can see in the light of divine being, is there ability to just like put a little bit in? Or is there just all in or all in the light of divine ease? There's just divine being fully present, all that is. And then there's the concept of what we are and the idea that we can be a little bit in. I'll just give a little bit in. Let me just kind of check out this enlightenment thing just a little bit. I'm going to stick my toe in there, see how the water goes. And at first in form, that can be just a helpful way because we have made ourselves so afraid of infinite being ourselves. In the decision to play in form, play the other game. Yet again, as we look in the light, is it possible truly to play an other game? A game of otherness, that there is another in the light of honesty of God. No such other exists. Yet the energies play within consciousness, and then we look with Jesus and go, okay, where's the still, like in that play, saying, oh, I don't like this world. I don't like being unhappy. And then drilling down with Jesus and going, oh yeah. I want it. You feel that, like wanting that itch. The itch to make God wrong, which is to make ourselves wrong. It shows up in making our brother wrong, thankfully. Thankfully, we have brothers who love us enough to see through our delusions. until we see through them ourselves. He cannot play with dreams, nor think he is himself a dream. He cannot make hell and think it real. He wants the peace of God, and it is given him. Okay, Jesus, so is there any desire for a dream of hell? Any kind of otherness is hell. Without accept. Any desire to play with a twig, a tension, a pain. To dabble in what we're not. Dabble. To dabble in saying no to God, even when we see an honesty of God, it can't happen. Honesty of God. Can we say no to God? Those little twigs, those little tension that come up signal dreaming. It's, instead of like on the Starship Enterprise, had that sound that wong, 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 and the red lights would go on. The danger's coming. Those red lights mean that we're sleeping, time to wake up. Because if we feel like there's an enemy attacking, we're asleep. So now we can use that signal, wah, 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 going, oh, I'm sleeping. Time to wake up. Time to see that this is not true. He cannot make a hell and think it real. We're thinking hell into existence. Jesus, is there any desire to think hell into existence? Someone. And look at that directly in the light of divine being. Let that melt into infinity where it belongs, rather than that contraction. He wants the peace of God, and it is given him. For that is all he wants, and that is all he will receive. Okay, so now the want, want, want is the signal that we're wanting something other than everything that God gives. I want the peace of God. So then that's the signal, want, want, want. I want something other than the peace. It's like a complaint against infinity. The protest sign goes up. Even though we see in the divine light, can we protest the light? We can scream and yell, is the light still here? Light has no challenge with the screaming and yelling. Many have said these words, but few indeed have meant them. You have to look upon the world you see around you to be sure how very few they are. This is the commitment Jesus talks about. There's so little convicted to true identity, convicted to cease to deny true identity. Those are all our reflections in our mind to remind us the denial, not in our brother, the denial in us. That helps take the Klingon look out of the forehead, because then it just gets relaxed. Like Jesus said, the slightest frown, the slightest unhappiness is the unwillingness to say these words, I want the peace of God. The world would be completely changed should any two agree these words express the only thing they want. Wow. The world would be completely changed should any two agree. See, now we have 5, 6, 7. The only thing that's wanted. This is the power of divine being coming together. Look, they call it satsang, standing in the truth of divine being. Two minds with one intent become so strong that that what they will becomes the will of God. This is the will of God. For minds can only join in truth. The truth of God's ever-presence is all that truth key. In dreams, no two can share the same intent. Oh, we noticed that too. We ever try to have an discussion where we want someone to see our way, like the horizontal move? Trust me, I know what I'm talking about, which is pretty much a direct path to denial of divinity. But being as truth together with that single focus of mind is so expansive, infinitely celebrating. To each, the hero of the dream is different. The outcome wanted, not the same for both. Loser and gain are merely shift about and changing patterns as the ratio of gain to loss and loss to gain takes on different aspect in another form. Wow, Jesus totally transforms the relationship with our brother from that seeking win and lose or gain. What can I get from this relationship? Even forms of giving where it's giving to get, these little subtle things, to see that joining in truth straight up together, the infinite power of that, where the only desire is to know God together. Infinite power, infinite happiness, infinite joy in that joining. You just laugh, actually, in the joy of it. That wasn't really understood well, this power of joining, because obviously, I'm not joining. That's the last thing. My first living in community, what's this joining? Who are they to tell me anything? And didn't see how powerful it is when you just come together in devotion to the truth, to what's true. Yet compromise alone a dream can bring. Sometimes it takes the form of union, but only the form. Compromise. I'll give if you give a little, and we'll come on the minute. I was thinking about that yesterday. Somebody was saying to me, actually, it was when I was buying this property, the reflection in the mind was coming up. Why don't you take on some of the risk with us? Take on some of the risk. Compromise. It would be compromising. It'd be saying as though risk exists. Even though this mind is the one that created that reflection, we can't fall for our own reflections that are appearances. The meaning must escape the dream, for compromising is the goal of dreaming. That would be to say yes to that, would be agreeing that dreaming is true, that it's possible to compromise. Minds cannot unite in dreams. They merely bargain. Bargaining is saying no to who we are and negotiating. That was the other thing, very interesting. That was my quote unquote function in the world, was contract negotiation. Jesus has helped change that to follow the divine light. No negotiation whatsoever. When you get those prompts, Jesus doesn't sit there and negotiate. That's how you know it's a prompt. There's no reason behind it, and there's no negotiation. He's just offering what's most helpful. And then you see how powerful that is, because it breaks the habit of negotiating and compromising. And what bargain can give them peace of God? When we look at any bargain, any negotiation we've ever made in the light of divine being, has it ever given us peace, really? There's just the next bargain, the next compromise. And the belief that compromising brings peace, compromise brings salvation. Illusions come to take his place. And what he means is lost to sleeping minds intent on compromise, each to his gain and to another's loss. It's so subtle sometimes we don't see this compromise, what compromise really is. Compromise is anything other than infinite divine expression right now as it is. And it's so forgotten in all this foo-foo dusting thoughts and ideas and concepts, and we did such a good job Thankfully, not good enough to outdo God, but in the attempt to have a dream of something else. That's why we need the light for the way out. We need our brother for the way out to remind us the way out. The way out is to see no compromise on divine expression anymore. No compromise. No compromise on following the Holy Spirit, the divine light. To mean you want the peace of God is to renounce all dreams, renouncing all dreams. In the light of divine being, we just ask, see what the light says inside our heart. Is it necessary to renounce all dreams for consistent happiness? Any kind of play in a dream is denying ourselves. It's buying into the continual habit of identification with something other than true identity, infinite identity. For no one means these words who wants illusions and who therefore seeks the means which bring illusions. He has looked on them and found them wanting. Are illusions an attempt to limit ourselves in the light of divine being? Is this play within consciousness an attempt, in fragmented consciousness, an attempt to limit ourselves and have an experience of limitation without it actually happening? Now he sees to go beyond them, recognize that another dream would offer nothing more than all the others. That's so key. To admit that no dream, no fantasy offers anything to the Son of God. In the light of divine being, does any fantasy we've ever had, any vision, any dancing image of dancing on clouds, any movement in consciousness offer anything more than anything else in the truth of divine being? Can any of these things offer more than divinity? And can they change divinity? Cannot change divinity. Dreams are one to him, and he has learned their only difference is one of form, for one will bring the same despair and misery as do the rest. The illusion that a fantasy brings anything other than misery. It's like looking for a better fantasy, not to recognize that all fantasies are misery. So we'll switch to the next fantasy, we'll move to the next location. Next time you feel that you want to move somewhere, it may be a prompt. It's really good to be absolutely clear that it isn't a new fantasy, the desire for new fantasy, that something's what's right here. It may be a spirit-guided assignment. It can be a spirit. Very often it's just the move to, I'll get out of here, I'll get away from here. We start to see this. Our minds are so powerful. We were talking about this early this week too, that it's so powerful. As soon as we start looking or reflecting on what's true and giving up these identity ideas, you'd just be right in the middle of some big discovery. You'll just have noticed, I am everything. And the phone will ring, a friend will call, and then we'll go and tell them about what we saw. But that's the ego's way of us not really letting recognition bloom in the heart, like to bloom for us, because see that infinite light doesn't need to talk. It doesn't talk, okay, come over here, I'm going to tell you about myself. It just is. It just expresses as it is. It may express through the mouth. It just is. The mind, which means that all it wants is peace, must join with other minds. He's saying joining is a must. Joining in light is a must. This is just a symbol, but it's a helpful symbol given by him. For that is how peace is obtained, that we cannot have peace without joining, because it's honoring what's already joined. And it's been really helpful here as a reflection, seeing one thought of joining, like I'd be like in pain or something. I have one thought of joining with a brother and see the peace in that. Because the pain is the denial of joining. And when the wish for peace is genuine, the means for finding it is given in a form each mind that seeks for it in honesty can understand. Whatever form the lesson takes is planned for him in such a way that he cannot mistake it if his asking is sincere. But if he asks without sincerity, there is no form in which the lesson will meet with acceptance and be truly learned. This is why openness for teachers of God is so important, to be truly open. Let us today devote our practicing to recognize that we really mean the words we say. We want the peace of God. We want this light of divine being with all our hearts. We want what only love can provide. Only love provides always. This is no idle wish. These words do not request another dream be given us. They do not ask for compromise, nor try to make another bargain in the hope that there may yet be one that can succeed where all the rest have failed. To mean these words acknowledges illusions are in vain, requesting the eternal in the place of shifting dreams which seem to change in what they offer, but are one in nothingness. One. Jesus really doesn't give very much room, thankfully, for us to deny ourselves. They are one in nothing, shifting dreams, fantasy. A better time or a better place than happiness than right here, right now, as a divine being. Is any other time in the light of honesty of God a better time than now? Right here, light of divine being. Can we find that? Can we find the light of divine being say, okay, now you're going to have to wait till tomorrow for peace. You're going to have to forgive one more thing for peace. You're going to have to do one more thing for peace. There is nothing to do, only to accept. Yet, as the addiction for consciousness, where perfect peace and perfect happiness are not a consistence, then we know to keep looking with Jesus. Today, devote your practice periods to careful searching of your mind to find the dreams you cherish still. Become so joyful to search with Jesus. That is so powerful. What a gift. Search with me, and I will reveal to you everywhere you're saying no to yourself as a divine being. What do you ask for in your heart? It's a good question. What do we ask for in our hearts? Infinite, unchanging love. Thoughts of God only. Forget the words you use in making your request. Consider but what you believe will comfort you and bring you happiness. But be you not dismayed by lingering illusions, for their form is not what matters now. Not some dreams to be more acceptable, reserving shame and secrecy for others. They are one, and being one question should be asked of all of them. Is this what I would have in place of heaven and the peace of God? Jesus, will you help? Is this what I would have in place of heaven and the peace of God? Anything arising that's not peace, is this what I would have in place of heaven and the peace of God? That's a multi-purpose sentence. Every thought of God that he gives is multi-purpose, all use. Is this what I would have in place of heaven and the peace of God? Jesus, show me a twig where I can practice that right now. Is there anything within consciousness that I could see I can practice as you're directing me directly right now? Is this what I would have in place of heaven and the peace of God? This is the choice you make. Be not deceived that it is otherwise. No compromise is possible in this. You choose God's peace or you have asked for dreams. That's direct. And dreams will come as you requested them, all the fantasies of the world, of a better tomorrow, wishing my brother to be different, wanting my brother to go away actually just as we want God to go away. Another fantasy that God can go away. Another fantasy is a dream of death, the desire to experience death. Is this what I would have in place of heaven and the peace of God? In honesty of God, are these things I would have in place of heaven and the peace of God? Yet will God's peace come just as certainly and to remain with you forever. It will not be gone with every twist and turning of the road to reappear unrecognized and formed with shift and change with every step you take. I can have peace instead of this twisting, turning road of samsara that I invented in a dream. You want the peace of God, and still do, and so do all who seem to seek for dreams. The confusion is the seeking in the dream for what cannot be found in the dream. For them as well as yourself, you ask but this when you make this request with deep sincerity. For thus you reach to what they really want and join your own intent with what they seek above all things, perhaps unknown to them, but sure to you. We can only decide for ourselves. We can't decide for a brother. There's no one else to decide for other here. Decide to cease to deny through illusions. You have been weak at times, uncertain in your purpose and unsure of what you wanted, where to look for it, and where to turn for help in the attempt. Help has been given you, and would you not avail yourself of it by sharing it? I just asked Jesus so I can ask for a brother. Is this what I would have in place of heaven and the peace of God? I see a brother does not seem to be at peace. For all is one, so we're asking for the whole. No one who truly seeks the peace of God can fail to find it, for he merely asks that he deceive himself no longer by denying himself what is God's will. Who can remain unsatisfied who asks for what he has already? Do we have the divine light already? In the light of divine being that's here? Is it already here? This is the song of prayer, the highest rung, to ask for only this. We're so used to asking for fantasies and objects and wanting to manifest objects. We're already manifesting, Jesus says. He goes, you're manifesting the whole world. What are you worried about money for again? Tell me. You're manifesting manifesting objects left and right in this world, and then we're worried about money. Like the whole world's our in the light of divine being, or we manifest is consciousness manifesting the world. Manifest the whole thing and go, oh, it's happening to me, rather than going, okay, here's the expression of divinity. God is in everything I see, because it arises within us. Does everything in this manifest world arise within us in the light of divine being? Can it arise apart from us? Can our brother, as much as sometimes we want that sucker to be outside ourselves, that sucker, whoever that is, we were happy until that one came along, that one. Can we have that outside of ourselves and ever be happy? It's impossible. Any belief about the sucker that's a brother is the belief we believe we're a sucker. Because it's a belief arising in totality about totality. So it's a denial. Totality, deny itself. Consciousness playing limitation and denying itself. Itself. No one who truly seeks the peace of God can fail to find it, for he merely asks that he deceive himself no longer by denying to himself what is God's will. Who can remain unsatisfied who asks for what he has already? Highest rung of the ladder. Ask for nothing and receive everything. Who could be unanswered who requests an answer which is his to give? The peace of God is yours. In the light of divine being, is the peace of God ours? For you was peace created, given to you by its creator, and established as his own eternal gift. Is peace an eternal gift from God and the honesty of God, the light of divine being? Is perfect happiness and comfort the peace gift of the Father to his Son, his holy Son, in the light of divine being? How can you fail when you have but asked for what he wills for you? And how could your request be limited to you alone? No gift of God can be unshared. It is this attribute that sets the gift of God apart from every dream that ever seemed to take the place of truth. Can the light of divine light be shared? Is it the only thing of this world that can be shared? We can hear that answer within infinite love, answering. It is this attribute that sets the gifts of God apart from every dream that ever seemed to take the place of truth. No one can lose and everyone must gain whenever any gift of God has been requested and received by anyone. To ask for salvation from a brother is to ask for everyone. It's to ask for ourselves. To ask for salvation is to invite peace, to lay the invitation carpet out to our infinite nature. God gives, but to unite, and the light of divine being is the light unified. It's the invitation to unify, to the celebration of unified mind. And when it is as meaningless to you, you can be sure you share one will with him and he with you. In the light of divine being, honesty of God, we share God's will. Does God's will live within us? It is life. God's will is life itself. Infinite life. And you will also know you share one will with all your brothers whose intent is yours. And the light of divine being is in truth our brother's intent, our intent. No matter what the appearance is in a brother, is the brother's intent our intent to know himself as God made him? It has to be. It's the only way. It is this one intent we seek today, uniting our desires with the need of every heart. Is it the need of every heart to recognize this light and celebrate this light? The call of every mind, the hope that lies beyond despair, the love attack would hide, the brotherhood hate is sought to sever, but which still remains as God created it. With help like this beside us, can we fail today as we request the peace of God be given us? In the light of divine being, if our request is honest, can we fail to be given the peace of God in the light of divine being and honesty of God? If we accept the light, that's all there is. So we raise our voices together in our power, in the power granted to us by the Father, to say, I want the peace of God. Amen. Big hugs from San Juan Kosala. Love you. Thank you for joining us.